Hey guys, today we're looking at a crazy creation called the hinged box. Basically, this thing is a foldable stickless fight stick designed around a hinged concept for both portability and storage. Actually, with a design like this, there is another element of interest that comes to mind, but we'll get to that here in a second. Out of the box, we've got that hinge in the middle, a handle at the seam, and then a typical all-button layout with some sanwas ready to go. They even got my handle on the bottom for a fun personalized element. As far as colors, Hingebox offers black and gray as their standard choices, and this gray lands somewhere on the scale between Super Nintendo cartridge and sharkskin suits. The overall size is smaller than one might imagine just looking at the website photos, so I always like to demo some quick dimensions to give a viewer some more context. It reminded me a bit of those childhood lunchboxes actually. And obviously, because these enclosures are 3D printed PLA, the overall weight also skews lower. Hingebox chose black 24mm Sanwa buttons for all but that 30mm gray jump function to bring that color back around. Now, because they are using Sanwa buttons, this sounds and feels more like a traditional fight stick over a lot of the other all-button controllers I feature on this channel. Here's a quick sound check. Sanwa buttons have a lower actuation threshold than a lot of other arcade stick button brands, so that can make slides as well as some more extreme inputs a bit easier. Sanwa was always an inoffensive go-to standard for the last couple of stick generations, so you'll likely already know if you like them. The layout is oriented high on the design, which I appreciate because it gives ample palm rest. And even the direction and action buttons are separated a bit farther beyond what a conventional hitbox layout does. However, if you use your right thumb for the jump function, that could be an issue, but if you don't, then you'll likely appreciate the added space between your hands, sort of akin to a less extreme split keyboard. They also didn't add any extra buttons beyond the usual, so no new drive mechanic functions. That's okay though, because I think where this hinge design really shines is in the ergonomics. So if I place it on my lap, the thing functions straight across just like every other model. However, when you place this little 3D printed angle lock device underneath, it becomes more similar to a tented keyboard. Tenting isn't something we often see in the fight stick world, but it's a really cool element to keep in mind with this device. Now, the insert and slight tent really only works well for table play, but you could make much more extreme adjustments by just using a single leg and folding the device over your thigh. I suppose a user could play it fully closed, but I wonder how hard it would be to offer some adjustable 3D printed brackets to lock more extreme angles of the enclosure to really lean into that tenting angle. Tiny magnets on the underside keep this firmly closed and folded on the go or on the shelf. As far as maintenance is concerned, 3 screws hold each back panel in place. Once you remove those, you can get a peek under the hood. Now, Hingebox sells these devices with Brook Fusion boards for PS5 compatibility, and then also, like the one you see in here, a Brook Zero for PC play. That's fine, but to me, the Zero was a questionable choice just because that specific board seems nearly irrelevant compared to an RP2040 base offering with the appropriate firmware. However, I can't speak on the behind-the-scenes brand commitments and bulk orders a smaller fight stick business has to do to compete with larger vendors. On the flip side, Hingebox did go with player LEDs, which are always a cool touch. They also look ready to help you design your perfect stick and can accommodate some special requests for an additional fee. For example, a Mark of the Wolves player wanted a slightly angled jump function to better conform to how their left hand likes to rest, and Hingebox was able to make that happen for them. Regardless, I think this is a novel little device which will appeal to those who want something a bit beyond the usual, or those of you who prioritize a device that can accommodate different ergonomic sensibilities. Like I said, tenting is something that keyboard players have had forever, but it's still very foreign in the fight stick world, and I appreciate the innovations toward more comfortable play sessions. It felt very nice during play and I experienced no issues. If a viewer is interested in buying an off-the-shelf model or commissioning something with specific hand placement requests, check out their website. You can buy your own pre-built one ready to go, or just the enclosure to fab it up all yourself. They also have another novel device with a D-pad in lieu of the traditional all-button placements, so that could open up yet another way to play for the discriminating fight stick snob in your life. And when you roll up to your locals with this sucker handcuffed to your wrist, you know you'll already have your opponents beat on the mental game. As of this video, there's a 15% sale going on for certain models, so definitely go check them out if this appeals to you. Thanks to Hingebox for the review copy of the controller, and thanks to you, dear viewer, for spending some time with me just talking shop about fun fight stick options. Support your locals, and I'll see you next time.